What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Rich Nice back once again. So today we're out in the shop. We got a new project for the shop. Hopefully it's going to help us out in the summer and definitely in the winter. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about this. It's an AUX heat pump. It's AC and hot and cold. It comes with an inside unit. It's called a mini split, and it's outside condenser. So basically, the plan is to put it up here in that open space. As you can see, I've already ran my 220 wire over that will go outside into the AC disconnect. So let's get this thing unboxed and see what's in here. All right, so in the box, you have your connection hoses for your hot and cold. Which are these. Then you also have the condenser unit itself, which overall looks like it's pretty good condition. Looks like this popped out, which this is plastic, so it just pops right back in, so that's no big deal. Everything looks like it's intact, no damage. And then you have your tape to wrap your lines up with, and that's pretty much it. And what we're going to do with the condenser is we're going to hang it on the back of the shop so it's up off the ground, just in case we get snow or whatever the case may be. We don't have to worry about it getting buried in the snow. It does have an auto defrost on it, so when it gets down to a certain degree, this thing will get ice on it, so it'll defrost itself. So let's open up the other part. Lines look a little short, don't they? I think they're supposed to be 12-foot lines, maybe. So maybe putting it a lot lower than we anticipated. All right, let me open this up for you. All right, you have the inside unit itself, along with your drain hose, which is not very long. So let me turn this over and get this out. All right, inside the box you have your remote right here. You have your instructions, the mount to hang your remote, and then you have some screws to mount the unit itself. Again, you already seen the drain hose. So this wire right here would go from the condenser to your disconnect box outside. We're not going to use this because I got something else that will take its place. So we'll toss that to the side. This wire right here will actually go from the head unit itself out to your condenser outside. And this is what will control that. And then you have another wire, and I think that goes to, who knows, but we shall see. So then you have your bracket itself, which is this, and it just has one screw in it that holds it here. So you take this bracket off, you hang this on the wall, and then you cut a hole. So we're going to have to measure over from here to the middle of here to see how far it is. I think it's like 4 1/4 inches. Let me grab a. This is going to be from the edge of the bracket. I would say probably about 4 1/2 inches over. You'll drill a hole in your wall, and it's supposed to go outside and drill a hole through the outside wall. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to keep all the lines on the inside of the wall. That way it protects them against the weather and everything else. And then just shoot the wires and lines out the bottom down here on the outside of the shop, and go from there. So overall, I think it should be pretty easy. These are your lines that come from the kit that you hook up to your lines right here. Other than that, it's pretty much easy. So So the first part is to unscrew this, and inside your panel right here, and this is just plastic, so these are all your terminals and where you'll plug all your wires in from. So we'll have to get back into the instructions and figure out which one goes where, and go from there. Down in there, but basically you'll feed your wires up through. Like that. Pull them through. But you get the idea. Pull them through, and then we'll hook them up. Pull them way through, so that way, and they are labeled, so if you look at, I know it's kind of hard to see, but they do have wording on them, so I'm gonna have to take a picture of this and blow it up so I can see what it says, because I'm blind in one eye, I can't see out the other. So I'll do that and I'll be back. All right, YouTube, we got our bracket mounted, it's level, we got our lines in, so we're finna connect those to the actual unit itself. We got our wires pushed through the hole that we drilled. It doesn't say in the kit, it didn't come with a template, but it's about 4 1/2 inches over from the bracket itself, where all your lines and things are, those right there. So we'll connect our hoses, and inside of here, there should be like some nitrogen gas. So you should be able to release that and you'll hear it. You hear that? That's a good sign. If you don't hear nitrogen gas, that means you have a leak somewhere in your system. So we're going to go ahead and finish spinning this. Like that. We'll take our big one off. And it's only gas in the small line, not the big one. So. Just like that. Take it, set our unit up on top of the shelf. This will make getting to these lines a little bit easier. And this little one is really flimsy. I need to get my line lock. Put it on there, so let me grab that real quick. All right. Now that we got those connected, we'll use our 2 adjustable wrenches to make sure that these are tight. You don't want to over tighten them, because if you do, you'll strip them and you have all kind of issues. Getting tight. We'll do the same one for the big line right here. And we'll tighten that up, and then I'll get this thing pushed through the wall. All right, YouTube, we got our inside unit mounted. It was a pain to do with one person to try to push the lines through the hole, which you'll see they come out down here, along with all the wiring. So I had to drill a 2.5-inch hole, and what we use is some like Schedule 40 PVC pipe caps. Excuse the mess. So basically, we use these. And I just sandwiched them between the actual siding of the shop. And then what we'll do is we'll use spray foam to seal it up. So let's go outside and look at, ooh, this shop is a hot mess, which is one of the reasons why we are trying to clean this thing up and put some AC in it. So. So as you can see here, we have our wires come out. They'll come right down here and connect to our pipes. These will actually connect in here. If you look real close, they actually got a number on them. Like that one says 5. Not sure if you can see that. This one says 3 or 4. And then this one says 3. So if you look in here, you'll have 3, 4, 5. So that's where these go. And And then these ones will go on the other two. And this green one will actually go on this ground screw. And then this will get plugged into this piece right here. So, more to follow. And then we have our drain tube right here. So we'll just make sure that's on the bottom. So we'll probably just like zip tie it to here, just to keep it out of the way. You know, zip tie it to here just to keep it out of the way, and it'll drain straight down. So really we got to do some connections on the inside, and she'll be ready to get hooked up. So let me figure out what we got to do next, and we'll go from there. All right, YouTube, we're ready to start making some connections here outside. So let me get you guys strapped in. And according to this diagram, 1 is brown, 2 is blue, 3 is black, 4 is blue, 5 is brown. So let's see if we can get this done. All right, we have a retainer clip right here. So we'll loosen this up. And the key thing to this is to make sure however you wire it up here is wired up on the same thing on the inside panel. Because if not, you could have a whole bunch of issues. We're just removing this wire clip. So the first connection we're going to make is we're going to connect our little black wire. This 2-pin, this is for your variable speed. Just like that. Then we'll come out here. First thing we'll connect is our ground wire, which is this green wire right here. And we'll put it right here. It already comes with these spade connectors on it. So the thing we gotta do is just lift this up. Again, I'm not a certified electrician, so if you don't feel comfortable doing this yourself, by all means, please hire an electrician. So according to our diagram, number 1 is blue. Number 1 is brown. So we got to pull this cover back. Dispose our prongs. We'll loosen this up. Just like that. Give a little pull test to make sure it's secured. Our number 2 is going to be our blue. So we'll loosen this up. just like that. And then these will come over here and we put our wire tie back together. Next, we'll hook up our little wire with our little connectors on it. Again, it says number 3 is black, blue, brown. So I'm assuming this is going to be black. Then blue, and then brown will be number 5. And as you can see, these actually have a number. Like that one right there is 4. So you kind of know where it goes. This one has a 3 on it, so you know that's 3. And then this one will have a 5 on it. Right there, 5. So even if your colors don't match, at least you just match the numbers up, you should be good. Like that. And number 5. So hard to do with gloves on. And if you have any questions, if I skipped something that you wanted to see, just let me know and I'll kind of explain it to you. The instructions that came with this were in Spanish, and of course I don't speak Spanish, so I had to go out and get the American instructions. But of course it didn't really tell you how to wire this up. On most mini splits, the power would come out of the junction box, which is going to go here and come to here. But this one is not made that way. The power is going to actually come from the inside unit, go to the junction box, and from the junction box back to the inside unit. Yeah, exactly. So, all right, finally got it back in there. It fought me the whole way. Next, you just put your cover back on. Make sure your wires are out of the way. Just like that. So we got a few more connections to make on the inside. We can stick some of these extra wires back in here so they're not just hanging all out. Just like that. Again, we're going to put some spray foam in here to seal this all up on the inside and the outside, just to keep all the creepy crawlies out and make sure it's insulated. So A couple more things to do inside, and then we'll be back. All right, we're at our junction box. The green wire, the blue wire, and the yellow wire are the same ones we hooked up, except for they only give you like 4 feet of this wire. So I have to make it longer to reach the actual junction box that's going to go right outside. So green is ground. So we got our ground hooked up. We'll get our, and it doesn't really matter because this is 240. So there's no neutral. So both of these will be hot. So it doesn't really matter which one goes on which. So, and basically you just take these, we'll put them together. I probably should cut it down some, so they're about the same length. But either way. Just like that, get them twisted. You know, you get a good twist, you want to twist it so it's twisted a couple of times. And then we'll just fold these back in on themselves, put our cover on, and then we'll put on here AC junction box. So if I ever decide to sell this place or whatever, whoever buys this will know that this junction box belongs to this AC unit. So. All right, so we got our junction box. I had to turn the music down because I don't want to get copyrighted. Remember outside, we have a green, a brown, and a blue wire that we hooked up, those big thick wires, 1, 2, and then to the ground. So in here, green is going to be ground. Then you have your blue wire and your brown wire. Doesn't really matter which one goes to the white or the black because it's 220. So they're both going to be hot and there's no neutral in this. So, and if you remember up here, inside of here, where we did our wiring up here, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blue is on 2, brown is on 1. The same thing outside. So normally this thing that's in here would be outside on the actual condenser, but for whatever reason, AUX decided to put it on the inside. So it is what it is. So really, only thing we got left now is our junction box, and we have to connect to our panel, which we'll do last. Because once we do that, she'll be hot, ready to go. So, and again, we'll label this AC junction box. That way, whoever buys this house, whenever I leave, will know that this actually belongs to the AC. just like that. So, yep, junction box, and we'll be good to go. All right, YouTube, this is how I wired the junction box. Your load from your main panel inside will come in here. It'll go to the two inside. Remember, this is 240. So it doesn't matter which one goes on which, white or black, as long as it goes on the two insides. And then this over here is coming from the AC unit itself, and it goes to the outside here. And again, it doesn't really matter which side it goes. I just like to color coordinate. So yeah, there it is. And then you just put your panel back in. So I push the wire back in. Like that, and then you have your on off switch. It'll say off at the top when it's off, and on the top when it's on. So we're gonna leave it off, and basically all we're gonna do is just stick it in here, right here, and you push it in just like that, and then close it. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to get some caulk and caulk around here, seal this up. That way it keeps the water from getting in here. This is a watertight box, so it should be good to go. And basically what we have left is we have a couple of connections here for our hoses, and then we have the main box inside. So I'll get these hoses connected and we'll go from there. These are, they just fit on. You unscrew the caps. I gotta put some nylock on here. Nylock. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, it just helps keep with corrosion and all that good stuff. Then what we'll have to do is we'll have to pull a vacuum, because inside here I believe it's a 5mm hex head, which will release air into the system. But before that, you have to pull a vacuum to make sure it's holding air, and you have to do that for 15 minutes, and then you turn your pump off, and then you wait 15 minutes to see if it holds that air. Another way you can also check to see if you have any leaks is you can spray some soapy water on your connections here and inside, and go from there. So let me go get my nylock, and I'll connect these lines, and then we'll get ready to pull the vacuum. The key is to make sure these are tight, but not too tight where you strip it or you have other kind of problems. I don't have a crow's foot with a torque wrench, so if you read your instructions, it'll tell you use a crow's foot with a torque wrench. So I'm just going to tighten these up snug, and hopefully they don't leak. And then when we pull our vacuum, we should be good to go. So just like that, that's snug. I think that should be good. So we'll put the big one on, and we should be good. All right, YouTube, what we're doing now is we're pulling the vacuum. It's down to -30. The blue line, of course, goes to your AC unit over here. This connector right here doesn't come with the AC unit, so you'll have to either buy it with the kit like I did, and then our yellow line goes from the middle down to our pump where it's pulling the vacuum. So We'll let it do that for 15 minutes.
15 minutes later.
All right, it's been 15 minutes. As you can see, we're still in the same spot. So the first thing we want to do is turn this off. Just like that. Then we'll turn our pump off. And now we'll wait 15 more minutes to see if it holds. If it holds, then we can release Freon in the system and we'll be good to go.
15 minutes later.
All right, YouTube, it's been 15 minutes later and it's holding. So now we are good to go to release our Freon into the system. So I have to go get an Allen wrench and then I'll be back. All right, YouTube, we're letting the Freon in. Not sure if you can hear that little hiss, but you turn these all the way out till they stop. Same thing with the top, turn it all the way out. And just like that, we're good to go. So again, and then you just put your caps back on. On these, when you open them up, you want to open up the bottom one first because that'll release the Freon. Then you open up the top one. Make sure these are back snug. Let's do the top one first. Snug. Snug. Make sure your valve is closed for your low. Then you can disconnect it. And inside here is what they call a Schrader valve, just like you would have on your tire. So that's how you get your pressure and stuff. So just make sure you put your cap back on, because in the future, if they ever need to charge it, that's how they're going to put Freon in it. So other than that, we can hit the power on the inside. We'll turn this to on. Plug this back in. Eventually, just like that. Close the box. So we'll disconnect our pump, grab our gauges, and then we'll meet you inside. All right, YouTube, this is our AC that's up on the wall. I just have to label it. I didn't show any of the wiring because I'm not a certified electrician. But before you do anything, always turn off your power. So what I did was I went over to the main house, turned the power off there because this is a sub box. So I just turned it off there, and then I turned this one off just to make sure. And then I ran my wire down through, hit the ground, both hots. So I turned the disconnect to on. So, uh-oh, I heard a beep. So we might be in business. One of the things I definitely got to do is clean this shop up. Oh my God. So we will put the batteries in the remote. So right now it says it's off. So I'm gonna hit this power button. Oh, I heard a beep. I see lights. Not sure if you can see that where it says 24. I'm assuming that is Celsius. So we're gonna hit the Fahrenheit button. Yeah. All right. Oh, that's the mode button. Duh. So as you can see, there's lots of things on here. So I'm just kind of play with it. They got health, sleep, timer, turbo, swing. So I guess it'll swing left, right, up, down. And these are your up, down buttons. Your fan speed. I'm not sure if y'all can hear that, but it's working. As always, YouTube, don't be scared to take on a new project. Now, I do have to come back in here, core these lines up, make that nice and neat, and then we'll put our wall back, and you'll never know that's there. Overall, not too bad. It'll probably take you about 3 or 4 hours to get it done, especially if you do it by yourself like I did. But if you have a helper, it goes so much faster. Guaranteed. But until then, all right, YouTube. One of the biggest reasons, should I say, that I put this condenser for our mini split AC unit up is because, one, I wanted to make sure that if we did have any snow, as you can see, that it was up off the ground so it wouldn't get froze, and nothing would get in the condenser back here. Two is there's a little, it's like a 4-foot ledge for brick that we're supposed to put on here. We just haven't yet. Once we do that, we will be able to have enough room to be able to keep our condenser up. And also, I need to be able to get underneath here with my 0 turn, just in case I need to cut grass or whatever, and it gets kind of high up under here, or with my weed whacker. So that's one of the reasons why my condenser is up so high on the wall. Also, behind these siding is a 2x6 on the other side of here, and that's what these bolts are bolted to. So I wanted to make sure that when I drilled into the siding that I hit that board, which will give me plenty of strength to hold this thing in place. So as you can see, it's pretty sturdy. It's not going anywhere even with the wind. So that's the biggest reason. So we'll go inside, turn the system on, and see how long it really takes for it to try to warm up. It's pretty quiet. If I can get out of the snow and the drifts. We'll go inside, we'll turn it on, see how long it actually takes for us to heat the inside of the shop up. I put this in right before I went on a trip for work, so I'm not sure how long it's going to take, so more to follow. All right, so we're back inside. We have our trusty dusty AUX mini split remote. We're going to turn it on as soon as I can hit the stupid button. There we go. As you can see, it says 78 here, and up on the mini split up there, I'm not really sure how well you can see it, but it has a orange 78. On here, not really sure how well you can see it, but take this stupid glove off. If you can look at the top, it'll say heat mode. Then I'll have the speed, the set temperature, and on. So it's on right now. I don't know how long it's going to take to heat this place up. Gauging at a temperature, it is 29 degrees in the shop. So I think we're going to lower this down to like 70, just so, not sure if y'all can see that, but it's going down. So we're going to put that at 70. So that's a 50-degree increase. So we'll come back out here and probably be about an hour and see if this is heated up any. And then once it heats up, we can start doing our cleanup, because oh my God, this shop is a hot mess. I got stuff all over the place. But like any good shop, if it ain't messy, that means you ain't doing any projects. So we're gonna make sure, oh, sorry, y'all a little bit dirty. Sorry about that. Anyway, like any good shop, if it ain't messy, that means you ain't doing no projects and you ain't doing no work. So we're gonna make sure we're doing some work and start putting this thing back the way it needs to be, so we can actually start working on some stuff. So we'll be back in about an hour and see where we're at.
1 hour later.
I'm not really sure if y'all can hear how quiet this thing actually is. It's super quiet where I can actually talk over it and you can actually still hear me talk, compared to our window unit, which is just an AC, which is coming out, so we can actually have our window back. So yay for that, because that thing over there is a hot mess too, but it works. Just wasn't big enough for the shop. So we'll go outside and let you listen to the condenser and see how loud it actually is. I love these snow drifts. We got about 7 inches of snow while we were gone. So this is the fan. Feel it blowing out. So it's pretty quiet. You can actually hear the traffic behind the fence going by. So yeah, we got to get this place cleaned up. Next, and start working on some landscaping for our pool. That'll be coming up next in the spring.
1 hour later.
All right, YouTube, it's been about an hour. So as you remember before, we were at 29 degrees. So let's see where we're at now. Oh, I'm sure you guys can see that, 50 degrees. So we went from 29 to 50 in about an hour. So I figure if we come out in another hour, we should be right at that 70 mark, which you really can't see up there. But it's set at 70. So we'll come back in an hour and check it again. Because right now we're at 50. Doesn't feel too cold in here, but again, it is what it is.
3 hours later.
All right, YouTube, it's been about 3 hours. And I've been out here in the shop for about 30 minutes or so. just tinkering around, trying to clean up some stuff, put our wall back. And I can tell you, I'm out here sweating, and I just got a regular hoodie on, so I'm starting to sweat while working. So I think it's doing its job. So again, some of the things that they don't tell you about is with this particular unit, you definitely need 2 people to put this inside handler, is what it's called, in the wall and run the lines. What I did was I just got 2 of these and screwed them together to make like a U, and then I screwed these to the wall, and I actually set that handler inside that U to give me an extra set of hands. And then I was able to fish the line down the wall. What I did do is that there's no template with this particular unit, so I came over where the cables were and the bracket mounts on the wall, 4.5 inches, and I drilled a 3-inch hole. It calls for anywhere between 2.5 or 3 inches. I drilled a 3-inch hole in there. I ran the lines down, we ran them through the actual siding and out to the outside condenser. Normally you would go from the disconnect box that's outside to the actual unit that's outside the condenser. Well, on this particular model, you go from the disconnect box outside to this unit up here. So what I did was, because it only gave you a 3-foot line to connect it to the junction box, I had to use the disconnect, I had to use a junction box to extend the wires. And of course it's 220. So we made our connections in there, wire nuts, tied them up all tight so they're good to go, ran it out with the lines and the drain hose to the outside and connected it to the junction box that way. It doesn't tell you that in the instructions anywhere. The instructions are pretty vague, but I just have a little bit of common sense on how it works. Again, I'm not an electrician. If you don't feel comfortable with doing this, by all means, reach out and get yourself an electrician. But I felt comfortable enough because I wired this whole shop myself. So I think we're good there. It's been running for about 5 hours now, or 4 hours now. So pretty much easy. I've never pulled a vacuum before, so I went and bought the kit. It was like $150. I'll put that in the link in the description from Amazon. It also came with the gauges and the manifold, and it was fairly easy. I watched plenty of videos on YouTube. You connect the blue hose to the actual condenser that's outside, and then you connect the yellow hose from the manifold to the actual pump itself. You open up the blue knob all the way open, turn your pump on, and it'll start pulling the vacuum. You wait 15 minutes, see if it holds. If it does hold, -30, you turn the blue valve back off, turn your pump off, and you let it sit for 15 minutes. Once it sits for 15 minutes, you come back out and check it. Again, all this is done in the video. If it holds, you're good to go. You turn everything, then you're good to release your Freon into the system. And then, again, it's in the video on how to do that. So those are basically some of the things that I learned while doing this. Again, I just like to tinker, so I just didn't feel like paying somebody $700 to come in and install it when I could do it myself. That was my first one. Lessons learned. You know what they say, you miss 100% of the shots that you never take. So I took a shot, it worked out well. Shop is comfortable. I'm not gonna say it's like burning up, devil in the corner selling ice cubes. It's not that hot, but it's hot enough that I'm sweating inside of my hoodie, inside the shop, which is a good thing. So we'll be able to get some of the stuff cleaned up and moved around and go from there. So as always, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll be on to the next project. As you can see, we're working on flash, putting some new gauges, amps, you know, cleaning some stuff up on the underneath so it looks decent. We got rid of a lot of this red hoses, and they're just split loom is all it is. We got rid of that. Got black so it's more presentable, looks better. So again, like, subscribe. Thanks for everybody that subscribed that's new. Thank you for all the old people that stuck around, and I'll see you on the next one. Much love. Peace.